As an entrepreneur, what is one of the most top 3 misconceptions?
That we rich.
I wasn't gonna go there on number 1.
The thing I hate the most is having to fire people.
Oh, I like that. I love it.
Why do you love it?
Because it gives me the opportunity to live through Vince McMahon.
Oh, jeez. When I got fired, I can tell you that was one of the happiest days of my life.
And it would have been mine if it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
All right, cool. So, welcome to the Full Gamut podcast. I am joined by my peanut light-skinned friend.
Peanut?
Peanut head, light-skinned friend. You don't have a peanut head?
My head too big to be a peanut head big man. You see how big my head is?
Smooth. That's like smooth. Like, what product you put on your head?
Razor, water, and soap.
That's it?
That's it.
There's just
I ain't got no.
This solar reflection right now.
You know, that's natural oils. Wow. Natural, just excrete from your skin. You know, that's the natural oils.
And I'm taking it back to the 90s with this blanket shirt.
Yeah, Jesus. You need to get that back. I hope you keep the receipt on that shirt.
You know what the funny thing is about it? I got it from the sports center with a few some Nike shirts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went because this accidentally had the security tag on it still. And I was like, I ain't going back there until I gotta go buy these basketball cards.
How you get out with the security tag on it?
The person accidentally didn't take it off.
How you get out the store with it on?
It beeped, right? And then they called me back and they saw that I had some headphones and they scanned it and then they was like, oh, the headphone tag must be caused it to go off. So they let me go. So I went back.
You teeth the shirt. All right, go ahead.
No, I didn't. I did not steal the shirt. So I went back to get some Sperry's.
I don't know what that is, but go ahead.
So some push-in slippers.
Okay.
Like boat slippers, right?
Yeah.
Because my other one popped. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me get a tie. So I went in and the lady was like, do you have your receipt? I was like, this was like 3 weeks ago, miss. I don't know damn receipt for this. So then she was looking at me like, you teed your shirt in. Shit, but then she said, do you have your loyalty card?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I have my wallet. So when she pulled it up, the purchase was there. She could tell me who ring me up, who ain't taking off.
Oh, nice.
I was like, oh Lord, that poor woman in trouble. But no, I love the way technology is going and how businesses are kind of leaning into reward programs, innovative aspects, just to keep on top of their customers, help their customers to evolve with the time, and as well as just to lend yourself to better business practices. Because at one point, if I didn't have the receipt, they wasn't giving me shit.
Mm-hmm.
They was gonna take that box.
Some companies over here, you could have a receipt and they ain't giving you nothing big, man.
Yeah.
I might as well tell you. That almost happened to me today.
What?
Yeah. Yes, sir. They gave let me don't call their name. I almost say who it is, but anyhow, we bought some butter, and a few of the butter wasn't good in the pack. So I gone to return them. Had my receipt. I just been there a couple hours ago, mind you. And at first, he was like, if the whole case was bad, you'd replace the whole case. I say, but chief, you all send me something with some bad products in it. Right? So he said, but I just followed. I said, who I could talk to, please? So he got someone named, and he said, hold on, let me go. And then he gone in the back, go and replace them. But initially, there was pushback. Yeah. I had my receipt. I was just there a couple hours ago, and there was initially pushback.
And I bet there's something
when it wasn't my fault. Y'all served me the bad product. I came to return it.
Right?
Listen to me, Jay. It has almost hurt me how much money we spend with them every week. You understand? But like I was saying, you could have a receipt and some people still ain't trying to, you know what I mean? So we got a long way to go with business evolution in this country because we still very old school, antiquated. A lot of people still have a lot of antiquated systems, antiquated policies, antiquated attitudes. And so
antiquated, just bad attitude.
Yeah, but that's how they used to do things back in the day. So yes, some companies are embracing technology and trying to evolve, but we still got a very long way to go because there are a lot more that don't.
Yeah. So you talked about this week, you almost had a nervous breakdown.
That's one. I tell you about 5 or 6.
Oh, so not one. So obviously, entrepreneurship and business ownership, which are two different things, I feel.
Explain.
I think entrepreneurship is a solo act and business ownership is an entity. And you have more so like you're a business owner. You have employees. You have larger taxes.
I don't know if I agree with that.
You have a larger imprint. I think an entrepreneur is someone that is as a solo service. Like I can look at a photographer as an entrepreneur. Until you start to have a larger imprint on your society, then I think I graduate you to business owner.
I don't agree with that. I disagree with that. You talking about a solopreneur. You talking about someone that just provides service, a contractor, someone that has their business and they have to work to make money. An entrepreneur isn't just pigeonholed into that one person. An entrepreneur is anybody that takes a risk to start a business. And I mean, you could look up, I can't give you the Webster Dictionary definition, but we could look it up if you want. We could Google it.
I mean, risk is a part of it.
But I'm pretty sure anybody that takes a risk and starts their own business is what the definition of an entrepreneur is.
Okay.
Now, because what you're saying now is once you scale your business and it's not just you no longer an entrepreneur, you're a business owner.
Yeah.
I don't think you separate the two.
You can't separate.
No, I don't think you separate the two. I think they all go together. That's you can't separate it.
I just want to level up.
You were talking about I think you're talking about an independent contractor, somebody that just works for themselves. That's a self-employed person when you say entrepreneur. That's a self-employed individual that just works for themselves.
So you think, okay, so there are classes of entrepreneurship. Can we agree with that?
I mean, yeah, you could probably say that. Yeah, there are different stages of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Different stages. We all go in stages because I started by myself.
Yes.
Where it was just me.
Many of us did.
Yeah, that's how most entrepreneurs start by themselves. You don't have a lot of people that are able to raise money right out the gate. They have a partner and then they already have a group from the start. Most entrepreneurs start off as self-employed people that have this idea or they have this gift to do something, they have this drive to do something. They start to do it themselves, and then some of us eventually scale, grow, hire people, and expand that business. But that's how everyone starts out. So I don't think you could separate the two, say an entrepreneur and a business owner. You've been listening to Robert A.
Robert who?
What Kiyosaki? How you say your last name? Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I mean, I listen to him from time to time.
But then again, even he doesn't use the word entrepreneur. I think he's because he has this quadrant. Mm-hmm. He has a quadrant. I probably can butcher it up, but I think that's who you were talking about, the self-employed person. Then you have the business owner, you have the investor, and there's one more, maybe the employee. But there's a quadrant that he has.
Okay.
Yeah. So that sounds something like what you were kind of referring to. So that's why I thought that's where you got it from.
If you had to do this over again, start from scratch, would you go into entrepreneurship?
Of course. I am crazy.
Even with all the craziness.
Listen, like we were saying with Seinfeld, I would have it no other way, because anytime I think about having a job, I feel like, and this is no knock on someone with a job, because I don't. You know what I mean? Some people...
There's no freedom.
No, but I don't... Listen, I hire people. So I need people who want a job. Yeah. So I cannot say, well...
You don't want to knock them.
Exactly.
You don't want to make it seem like they're not noble
exactly.
Or they're just like sheeple or whatever.
Without them, there would be no business owners. There would be... you may have solopreneurs, but... You need employees to scale and grow businesses. Yeah. So they play an important role in building and growing a business.
They're part of the balance. We take the risk. They give us support. They help. We hone this.
They provide their labor and they are compensated for it.
Yes.
But anytime I think about being that person with a job, I feel as though my life is going to be miserable. Because I'm about control. I have to have control over my circumstance.
So you're a control freak.
If you want to call it that, that's up to you. I don't care what you call it. But I like to be in control of my own circumstance and my own destination. You know?
Yeah. You don't want anybody to be able to come and dictate to you what
exactly.
you can do when you can do it.
Or put that ceiling on what I could earn, or you know what I mean? I don't want that. And so anytime I think about having a job, I be like, buddy, I have to put up with this stress because I can't go back to that, because I wasn't always business owner, entrepreneur. I had a job for 10 years prior to starting my own business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've been on that side.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was fine.
It was okay.
It was cool. You know what I mean? I had a decent job. I would go to work. I get paid. I had a regular life. It was cool. There was nothing wrong with that. But doing this now for 11 years, I cannot go back to that.
No. You know what switched me off from, because I did both. Like I worked for myself as a photographer, had a little job or whatever. And then I was main photographer for like some of the papers. I was a building tech. And one of the things there were two things specifically that turned me off from employment. I tried to get into the government service and my file was meddled with and I didn't get in.
Your file was meddled with.
Yes.
You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Don't elaborate on it. Don't want to elaborate.
That's how you could throw that out there, man. Don't tell us what happened.
Water under the bridge. Reverse nepotism. It is what it is. It's cool. Saved my life.
All right.
Because at the end of the day, I am better off for it now.
Mm-hmm.
Then, starting on principle, I spoke about this last week in last week's episode. I was fired.
Oh, you like me.
Right? And I was like, never a fucking again.
What'd you get fired for?
For telling someone they can't do my job and don't get in my way. Pretty much. That was seen as being sexist and...
you tell a gal that?
Yeah.
Ah.
She went to the higher up and told them I was a sexist pig and she can't work with me and all this other stuff.
Mm.
It was just trumped up charges. It wasn't real. And you know what the funny thing is? I should have been congratulated for doing my job before I took my day off. So this is how it went. So I got fired on my day fucking off.
That's the best time to get fired.
I was Ice Cube and Friday, motherfucker. So it was like, I did this show with the Tribune called, what was it? The Tribune Top 5. Tribune Top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they brought me there to do outside of photography. And I had already taped it and did all that other stuff. So it was my day off. So the person who had the issue or was looking for stripes was looking around. And they were like, oh, well, we got to do this. Not realizing I'd already had a conversation with the bigger boss and I'd already taken care of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent out an email. And for some reason, I don't know why on my day off, I was looking at company emails. And I saw it. And I was like, no, this is already done. It's already packaged. No need to worry about it. It's set. Click. Boom. CC'd everybody on it. No. My little boss was trying to give me a direct order.
Yeah, little boss.
And I didn't see it as that. She didn't, because my whole thing was this. I respect people that have legitimate input in the creative process. So if you showed me while I was working there these last couple of weeks, you have no interest in the product, you don't care about how it's done, and you leave me to my devices and I communicate with the talent and I communicate with the bigger boss, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So where you come from now, trying to tell me how to do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was nice. And that became...
I have a feeling you wasn't nice, Jay, but go ahead.
And that became a big thing, right?
I don't think those two things go together.
And then I wasn't nice the second time. So she came back with a response. And as in the way, and this is a paraphrasing because I can't even find this email right now. You ain't hear me, eh? This is what happened. This is how it was recorded. It's already done. I will see you when I get back to the office.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Little did you know.
Little did I know.
There was no back to the office for you.
So she run up to the big boss who I've been dealing with and complain. Big boss is like, I ain't nothing, whatever. I was one of his best photographers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he covered for me. Okay. You ain't taking this serious, but I was a woman. So I could go to the woman owner and I could complain, but this nigga and this nigga could be out of the job. And everybody texted me, you should apologize. Da, 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 da. And I was like, for what?
Mm-hmm.
I do that.
They don't know you, eh?
They ain't nothing to apologize for? Sometimes you just say you're sorry so you can have a job. Nigga, you know what it is? Like, I don't care for these people. So anyway, come back to work. Friend hit me up, pulled me in the side cubicle. It's like, listen, I need you to apologize. I was like, apologize for what? Gone to the big boss, we get our meeting. Everything cool. I worked like a dog that whole day.
Mm-hmm.
Come back inside the office. Everybody solemn. Say, okay, what's going on over here? Hey, Jay, little British guy, you know, cool guy, great guy, one of the best editors I work for. Come on in, Mike. How I need to talk to you. Conan there, man, I glassy, big grown man, you know.
What?
Big editor from across the pond, I glassy. I don't know what to say, mate. But you know, this email situation going back and forth, I just have to let you go. And he explained how it happened and what had happened. And I was like, you serious? What you crying for? We can be cool after this, you know. I take my pictures, I take my camera, I walk out the door. A couple of months later, I was at the national exhibit at the National Art Gallery. They still working where they used to work at. And I done elevate a couple times.
So you didn't get fired on your day off?
I did. Technically, I was they decided to squeeze another couple hours into me.
That's all I get from that. You was right on the job when you get fired, but you get fired on your day off.
Technically, it was done. The writing was on the wall. I just didn't know I was fired. Right? But after I got fired, it was sobering to me. I didn't want to have to live that experience again. I didn't want anybody to feel that they had power over me to manipulate a situation like that again. I could be fired from a client, but you can't stop me from my production company. You could take away your kid from a school, but you can't fire me as XYZ. And people continue to try to manipulate those things. They always try to be like, I know this person, I could do this and I can put a squeeze on you. But when you own something and you really have a great product, nothing, unless you're dead, there's nothing people could do with you. And that's the mentality they have now. And I don't think I could ever give that up for a check. Like even with nepotism, how it works in this country, you know, when there are people in government or take over a big company, I'll take a contract from you to provide service from one of my companies. But I can never say, let me put my company on the side and let me give you services as an employee of this particular thing. I can't do that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And going back to when you were fired, well, when I got fired, I could tell you that was one of the happiest days of my life.
You felt like you were free.
And I remember vividly going home that day, and my cousin was by us. And he said, boy, so you just get fired, but why you look like you...
Happy.
Like, what was the hell? You look happy, boy.
They can't understand it.
I was like, boy, you don't know how free I feel right now.
Because it was a stressful situation.
But the thing is, the job wasn't even stressful.
Was it that
I had a decent job. I was the first officer. I had a decent job. It was cool. I had no problem with nobody on the job. The job wasn't no problem.
So why did you feel free?
Because again, I think I was just born to be an entrepreneur and do my own thing. And so I always felt out of place, even though the job was okay. It was making okay money.
Did you feel like an imposter in your own skin?
Maybe that's why I felt so freeing once I got fired. Maybe I didn't, look at it that way while I had the job.
So you had to transition to be an entrepreneur from a... I can't even do it with a straight.
Well, I don't know what is that.
I'm planting stuff in there, man.
I miss it.
You didn't feel whole.
You ain't getting with it. You ain't getting with this trans thing again, Jay. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's a joke. Come on. Funny.
Yeah. That one going over my head just now. I trying to tell my story.
Toya was cracking up in the corner.
Yeah, I know, because she know. I trying to tell my damn story and you around here talking about trans.
No, you transformed yourself.
No.
To entrepreneur.
No, I didn't.
You felt free.
It was no.
When they took you out of the labor closet, you felt free.
It was. I wouldn't call it no transforming. It was a release. I actually was able to take my life into my own hands at that point. felt like I was able to take control at that point, and now I could focus on,
Did you go right into?
Because what it was I had, even while I had a job, I would always do things on the side. Like I was selling Blackberries on the side while I had a job. Yeah, but I had a page, Blackberry King, and every night I was selling Blackberries on the side. I was slinging them like drugs, but. So I was always doing
He was selling at a very high rate.
Listen, I actually did pretty decent with the Blackberries on the side thing. Because, that's where, and this, I know a lot of people, they probably don't even know what a Blackberry is.
They know what it is.
A lot of young people, they don't know what Blackberry is.
I have a very mature crowd. They know what it is.
Okay, well, when Blackberry was it.
Yes, they had the Pearl.
Blackberry was the thing. This way before iPhone.
What was it? The Pearl?
Pearl, Curve, Bowl.
The Bowl,
yeah.
The Bowl was a big bad boy.
Yeah, see, she look confused. That's what I try to tell. Not everybody know. She know what it is. She young. You know, how old you is?
She just as old as us. She just as old as us. Don't mind her trying to be over there all cute and all that. She just as old as us.
But I was doing that. So I was always doing, and even if I go back to my childhood, we would sell cup and baggie to people in the neighborhood.
Salty?
No, not salty. Cup baggie, and then my old man bought some ice cream from the store, and we would sell them to the kids.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So even from then, I was little,
you always had that spirit.
Dabbling in, entrepreneurship from a child. And so maybe that's why it felt so freeing when I was, let go from the jobs, because now I could actually do it full time. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I don't know if they didn't fire me, I don't know if I ever would have taken that leap. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know, because sometimes you need that push to do things sometimes. Because here's what, and I think it's Kevin O'Leary calls it, they give you a paycheck as a trap to, keep you, right? Yeah. It's a drug that they use to keep you.
Yeah.
And so you tend to get so accustomed to that consistent paycheck, that consistent money coming in.
You win it.
It becomes hard for you to leave something so secure.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to dive into the unknown.
If you're in a good company, there are certain companies you just don't leave. You don't leave utility companies. You don't leave decent transport, private companies. So yeah, I could.
Yeah, there are some jobs that pay very well, and like I say, especially if you now crafted a lifestyle
around that.
Exactly. So now you have obligations, financial obligations, based on this salary that you get every week. It now becomes difficult for you to leave that and to say jump into the unknown.
And then you have all those external pressures whispered in your ear, like, hey, don't even think about it. Don't, like, how you gonna replace that?
Right.
Because they don't know, because it's not their idea.
Well, they've never done it. They've never been through it. You know what I mean? And I've even seen it with my own family. You know what I mean? Like, they couldn't fathom me doing what I'm doing. Back then, it's like, well, every time, and my cousin is telling me all the time, say, boy, I can't believe all these people is buy cookie, but this don't make no sense. I don't understand it.
Yes.
But they're
so delicious.
But because you've never done it,
right?
You don't understand. That's why a lot of times when you have your parents, we don't get a lot of support. But I didn't get a lot of support in that way. And the reason is, it's not because they're trying to kill your dreams. It's that that's their way of trying to protect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they can't see it unless it's there. And they have to see like uber success. Like I talk about, like, it has to be huge.
It's like, and I'll never forget it. Most people have to see things to believe it.
Of course.
Entrepreneurs have to believe it to see it.
Yeah.
So it's the absolute opposite.
Yeah.
It's the reverse. We have to actually believe it to see it. Other people, if they can't see it, then believe it, they ain't into that.
I have this weird thing about throwing numbers around when I have things to get done. Like if it's a project and I can estimate that it's going to cost X amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And I have to be careful who I have those type of conversations around, because the minute I put that out there and I'm not conscious, I'm like, what? You guys spend all that? That's crazy.
That's
no, that wasn't me. I was reflecting on myself, because I know what I need to get done, and I know what that investment is going to yield me in a particular period of time.
And that's why Steve Harvey say, don't tell your big dreams to small-minded people.
Yeah. You have to protect you have to protect your intellectual property. You really, really do. And not out of the fear that someone's gonna steal it, It's pretty much out of the fear that it's killed before it could be fully conceptualized and execute it.
Dude, I wouldn't even go that far. You have to protect your own psyche because
Yeah,
you usually tell these things to people that you love and care about. So when you hear them not have the same excitement that you have,
Your mind changed for them.
it's like not
My
even
mind
so much.
changes.
Sometimes it's like it could almost plant seeds of doubt in your own mind as to whether you can do it or not.
Right.
And that is difficult. So that's what you have to protect more than your intellectual property. You have to protect your own mindset because people will plant seeds of doubt and it would just start to grow in your mind. And you'd be like, well, hold on, can I do this? Like, does this make sense? And that's where a lot of people, I think, get stopped is when they tell people and then people start to be like, oh, but what about this? What about that? And then they be like, well, what about those things? And then they throw themselves off and then they stop pursuing the thing that they really wanted to do.
I think that's a problem. I think it may be a problem for all entrepreneurs, but I think especially earlier on, you have to do that. I think at the later date, I think if you have love for people, like just genuine love for people, and you certain things kind of turn you off, that for me that would be a turn off because at the end of the day, I've been doing this. I've proven myself time and time again, and you still don't? Okay, maybe you don't need to be around.
Yeah.
You know, that type of way. Like, this is myself, and that might hurt me from an emotional standpoint. But up here, I'm locked in solid because I already know what I need to do.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, what is one of the most top 3 misconceptions?
That we rich.
I wasn't gonna go there on number 1, but let's dive in.
I can go there on number 1 because people, let me tell you, especially in this town,
rich.
right?
We have responsibilities. We have the other R.
We can break it down right now. Watch out. Let me show you how, especially in this town, how people go, right? What people tend to do, they look at the top line, right? Yeah. So they can drive past, let's say let's call it a chicken shack place. They see a bunch of people buying. They say, mother sick, but they making plenty money. Hey, look all the people buying this thing, right? Making plenty money.
They might be making plenty money on what you see.
Hey, listen, they may be generating lots of revenue. They may have a lot of gross income. See, there's a difference. And a lot of people don't understand how business operates, right? So you just see the top line. You got a lot of customers, you get sales, you get clients, you're making money.
That's it.
They don't never factor in their expenses.
No.
Never. And when you really look at it, let's say for the industry that I in, right? I don't know why I choose this industry, but I in the industry with some of the smallest margins in business, right? Food industry, small margins, right? So let's break down and explain to people what it is.
Go ahead.
If you're in the food industry and you have a 10% net margin, you are considered doing good.
You're doing very well.
10%, right? 10%. So let's say my business generates $500,000 of top line gross sales, right? Yeah. Gross revenue, $500,000. That means 10% of that is $50,000, right? That's a decent paying job in this country. Think about it. $50,000 is a decent job. But with a job, you don't have the risk that you have as business. Now, again, like I say, that's if you're lucky, you get 10%. If you're lucky, you may break even. You may lose money. You may have 5.
We're just coming out of a 3-year unlucky time.
Exactly. These 3 years have been brutal. These are the largest lessons I've ever learned in my entire life over the past 3 years. Yep. But let's break down the expenses. So, okay, you got your revenue. If you have a business with stores and stuff like me, right?
Right.
So you got rent to pay, but that ain't even your biggest stuff. You got staff.
Oh, yeah.
Usually your staff is your highest expense.
Yep.
Payroll can be about 40s, right around 40, anywhere from 35 to 50% of your gross.
Yeah.
Go on, cut in half. Paying staff.
Then you got that little thing called NIP.
Hold on, we can keep going. I ain't stopped. I just given you the biggest.
Sorry.
Which is what you're going to typically find the biggest expense is going to be payroll. And then I in a business where we got to buy supplies to make what we make, right? So our cost, this is COGS. See, COGS, cost of goods sold. People, what that is we just make cookies. So we got to buy butter, flour, sugar, vanilla, eggs, all the stuff that we need to make it.
And your oil price is more volatile than crypto.
Listen to me. Eggs, months ago, I shared many tears when eggs was $8 a carton because we come from eggs being about $2 a carton. How much times that is, Jay? 4. Thank you very much. We can't carry our price up 4 times.
You notice Jay on top of your match, right?
So watch this. So
can't win on these lights.
No, I can tell you the truth. But anyhow, so people ain't looking at all these things, right? So eggs shoot up for that time, right? And we've been dealing with inflation from, I want to say, the end of last year, most of this year, inflation has been insane. Everything that we purchase is at least 100% more than it cost last year.
No, man.
I'm telling you, at least 100% more than last year. Every single thing that we have to purchase, right? And so you can't keep carrying your price up.
No.
And you can't carry your price up to the extent of your cost of goods sold.
Right.
Because anytime you add a little something, people be like, man, y'all gone up again. People can complain, right? Yeah. So what happens is that net that you used to get, gone down. And so people don't see all of these things. They just look at the top line. They say, oh, you got customers, people coming in, you making plenty money. No, you're looking at the gross revenue. We have many, many expenses. I ain't even talk about the BPL. You know our BPL light bill.
I don't even want to know your BPL.
Let me tell you something. In January, I look at the breakdown of the bill for this year. January, we had a bill of about $400 and something, right? Okay. To Prince Charles. Cool. You know what it is now?
Let me see. Based on the data out there, that should have gone up at least 3 times, so $1,200.
How you know? I show you my bill?
No, I know the data out there. I've been analyzing. I look at my own. I just finished it, but I just
so here's how it went. So it went from 4 something. I tell people all the time, our BPL bill is very ambitious. Always outdoes itself than the month prior, right? We have an ambitious bill because every month it outdoes itself and gets higher. It goes from 4 something to 5 something to 6 something, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we up to about $1,100, $1,200 a month.
Jesus.
Right? So you got the BPL.
So when you put solar on top of the roof now?
It ain't my building. I ain't on the building. Wow. And that's a capital investment right there. So you need funding for that again. So now that's $30,000, $40,000, whatever it is. Yeah. And then that got to pay itself off over a 10-year period. Yeah. And so that means you got to at least be in that building for about 10 years with the
rent.
Uncertainty, you don't know if you could be there for 10 years. So why you could take something that can take 10 years to pay off if you ain't know if you can be there for 10 years. So all of these things you got to take into consideration. Running a business is constantly adjusting and putting out fires. All the time. Super stressful. People think you just sit there, collect money, go spend it and go on vacations. So that's the biggest that's why I lead with money as the biggest misconception about being a business owner, because people assume that you is Mr. Burns who just sitting there, or Scrooge McDuck, and you just collecting money, hogging it, and don't want to pay your employees, and you just want to be rich and leave everybody else poor and squeeze all the labor you could get out of them and pay them the least amount possible, when that's not the case. Most businesses that operate just barely break even. They like a person with a job. Most businesses operate like a person with a job. They will, like, instead of paycheck to paycheck, sales day to sales day, they operating by.
Yeah.
And that's most businesses. So when you see a business that's really has a lot of profit, those are the minority. That's the small percent. Most people right there just getting by. They just operating. They make a couple dollars here and there, and they just operating. So that, to me, that is the biggest misconception about being an entrepreneur or business owner.
Okay.
Hope I clarify.
Do you blame social media for that misconception?
Partially, yes. Because a lot of people on social media present it as though it's easy. Oh, all you got to do is this, and I can make this amount of money doing this. And that's not the reality. They rarely, and here's why I know why they do it. They're not going to present the full story because it's not sexy.
Yeah,
that's not what people don't want to hear that. Ain't nobody want to hear these things. Nobody want to hear about payroll, rent. Nobody want to hear about that stuff. They want to hear how I can make a bunch of money in a short amount of time with the least amount of work. Okay. That's what they want to hear. What can get me to this money the fastest with the least amount of work? And so that's what they push on social media.
But that's the biggest problem now. If you want to make good money, there's no fast.
No, there's no.
You have to put quality into what it is.
Yes.
And you have to build that brand. And people think branding and marketing is one thing. It's no. The brand is the identity and the culture of the idea of the business. Mm-hmm. The marketing is that vehicle that you use to get that branding to the masses,
exactly,
to your customers.
That's a great way to put it.
So for me is, as a person, yeah, you may look at that 10% margin as, oh, that's very thin. That's a good 10% margin if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Your job is to grow your gross, minimize those expenses to the point where that 10% yields $100,000, $150,000, et cetera, et cetera.
And just
that's the game.
And let's do some maths now.
I think that's the most sexy part of the game.
And do maths now. So if you got a 10%, what that means you got to make, if you want net, $100,000.
$1 million.
Thank you very much. So you got to gross, you have to have $1 million in sales just to make $100,000 if you're lucky enough to have a 10% net margin at the end of all your expenses.
And how do you do that? Diversify your offering.
Yeah.
You have to understand your product. You have to understand your market. You have to be able to diversify without creating another line of what you call
COGS, yeah.
COGS.
Cost of goods sold.
So whether that be you do your retail aspect, and then you say, okay, how can I go in commercial? How do I get in other storefronts where I don't have the responsibility of
that overhead, right?
Exactly.
And that's what we've been doing. Like you see, that's one of the pivots we had to make, is because it's so expensive to run a full store. It's best if we just take our products and place it into other people's store who are already paying for all of that overhead, and we still get the sales without all the extra overhead. So that's one of the pivots that we've been making, because listen, it's expensive to run a business in the Bahamas, buddy. Yeah. Especially if you have a building that you're paying for, it is extremely expensive. And I had to cut down on staff, because listen to me, we could do a whole show on human resources. Especially in this country. That's a whole different show. I don't think you got enough time for that.
No, we definitely don't have enough time.
That's another one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Oh, man. And listen, you got to be, how you interact with your employees. You have to be so careful. And see, I'm a people person. I'm a person, I like to crack jokes. I like to do stuff like that and crack. Yeah. I had to pull back because, buddy, stuff will bite you in the butt.
For me, I'm like this. And I treat my staff with the utmost respect. I try to be the fairest boss possible. I am empathetic. All I want is your results, right? And when you can't get down with that, deuces. No hard feelings, no anything. But I would not, and I will never change how I interact with people. If you come into my office and you hear me say a swear word, that's what you come in for. You have to understand that I don't mean anything personal to you. I'm not going to degrade you as a person.
But you don't think you have to... What I learned with dealing with people, right? And people say,
it depends on the person. You have to know who you hire.
And that's what I like it. But the thing is, and I hear a lot of people saying, this is a mistake a lot of people is making. They be like, oh, you treat everybody the same.
No, you can't.
You cannot treat everybody the same, because everybody is not the same.
No.
So you have to adjust how you communicate with certain people based on their personality to get the best result, or to get your message across.
Certain people can't take certain realities. So your tone can't be the same.
I want to say reality is deliveries. Deliveries are important and all, because I know you, right?
Oh yeah.
So I know how you go. I know what you mean when you say certain things. But someone that doesn't may take that as, you understand? They may get offended.
Yes, may still get offended in certain settings because they feel that in that setting it should be softer. But my whole thing is, you know what I mean. Just deliver. That's all. Deliver, baby.
Yeah, but I think you can learn over time. I think you say you ain't changing, but you can learn to adjust based on, because if you truly do care about the results, then your approach affects how they approach their job and the results they can give you. So sometimes you have to kind of approach people differently so that you could get the best out of them.
Each business that I'm involved in has a different persona of Jay, and Jay has different personas, right? But in all those personas, in each of those businesses, every one of the employees know those personas. So when I come with my Scrooge McDuck face, someone might get fired or someone in problems. Like, I hate when I come into the office and be like, come, let me talk to you for a second. And everybody feel like, oh, that's something bad. No, I might have some good news for you. I might have an extension for you. Let's extend this contract. Let's talk some money, whatever the case may be. But like, I try to be wholesome with everybody. I try to be empathetic. I try to give that listening ear. I try to give you opportunities to grow. But if you show me that you are a narcissistic, idiotic individual, your rope will eventually run out. Whether you pop your neck or I string you from the tree, we can get to that tree anyway.
Oh, Lord. String up from the tree? I don't know if that's... Anyhow.
That means you're no longer going to work for me. Whether you do it yourself or I do it eventually, we're going to get to the same conclusion because you're not a fit for this particular organization or this line of work.
And that's another ugly part of owning a business and having staff. The worst part of it to me, the thing I hate the most is having to fire people.
Oh, I like that.
I hate it.
I like that.
I hate it.
I love it.
Why do you love it?
Because it gives me the opportunity to live through Vince McMahon.
Oh, jeez.
No, and the terror. And this may sound horrible. This is my little kink. I like when people try to sell me on bullshit. How they can be better. How it ain't really their fault. How it was this person's fault and they try lie. Not knowing that I know the full story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. But you know the funnest part about it is, and I once I say it, I probably will never be able to do it again. I like to make my wife fight it.
Oh, he was a punk.
No, none of that.
He was a punk, babe.
No.
He was a punk, babe.
No, I still end up doing it myself because
He was a punk,
babe. No, we can't do that. I don't want to do it.
Hold on. You just say you love firing people, but
It depends on the person.
Hold on. You say you love firing people, but now you just say you was pass it off to your wife.
Sometimes.
That don't add up, Jay.
No, sometimes. All right. Sometimes.
How do you decide when you can have fun and when you can pass it to the wife?
So let me show you this tag team, right? So we had this lady, and I can go through all the particulars.
Mm-hmm.
But we had this one lady, she did a major taboo infraction. And it got to me. And I was like, okay, wife, you want to deal with HR now? You go and have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I know with the wife, what people try to do is they try to tug on our heartstrings too much. I don't have a heart. So what I did was I walked in to the room where it was happening, and I was like, yeah. But this is what happened, and this is what it is, and this is what it is. You sure? Double down. Okay. So I would look at the wife, and I'd be like, well, here's the thing. You know how this go, right? I ain't feeling this too much. I can let you do whatever you need to do and just let me know how it goes. And I would leave the room, and 9 times out of 10, waterworks it, buddy. And I'd be like, well, the boss said no. So you got to go. And that is emboldened. But she needs to go through that too, because I'm not always going to be around to be the person to do the dirty work because I enjoy it, right? Because I can do it. Like people's tears don't move me. People's sad stories don't move me sometimes. Sometimes I could be empathetic, but a lot of times I just don't give a fuck. And if you're going to be the boss because the school is hers, I help build that for her.
Okay, so this is like training for her. You're putting her through training.
Right.
Okay.
So when I walk away, I'm just an investor. Just pay me my dividends, baby. You know what I mean? And I know it in good hands because you're a capable teacher. Now I know you're a diamond manager that could take the grit. And the people that have gone through the battles with us that are still with us, they're that executive left and right arm that could help us through this process. So all this time we've been taking this chafing, we've been building up a very nice core team. And you take this team and y'all go and do God and just go make me some money.
Yeah. When you say that, you remind me of Barbara Corcoran because she said she loved firing people too. So she'd get excited about it. And she loved to fire people on Friday.
Think of it like, I don't know about all that.
Say she's coming today excited.
Think about it like, if you garden.
You garden?
Have you ever gardened? You ever prune trees?
I kill plenty plants. I ain't good at that.
So when
I ain't got no green thumb.
So when my grandfather was alive, he had this process called mossing, where he would
Call who?
mossing.
Oh, moss. Yeah. I heard that. Yeah.
So he would have me moss like a sour tree, and
Right.
an orange tree,
Right.
to make a hybrid
Right.
fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to look like a boring thing that he was doing until I started doing it for myself and clipping and pruning. And firing is a part of the entrepreneurial aspect.
Yeah.
All you're doing is pruning your business.
Yeah.
You're auditing your circles.
Yeah.
How could I come in, especially on a podcast like this, or publicly speak about auditing your circle
Mm-hmm.
and getting rid of family members from around you, and you can't fire some fucking staff? I would be a hypocrite. If I am no good for a project,
Yeah.
I remove myself.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, this is the better person for this particular gig.
Right. Yeah.
So imagine you.
Yeah.
I take money out of my mouth all the time.
Yeah. But it just don't feel good. You know what I mean? That's something I ain't as cold as you. I
You want the best for the people. I want the best for me.
Yeah. I still working to get to that, you know.
Getting to me?
No, I ain't gonna get that extreme. But I working to a better balance of, you know, empathy, but still doing what's needed for the best of the company. You know what I mean?
I close it like this. You might fire the next grad colleague.
I mean, what?
You might fire the next grad colleague. Someone who's comfortable but need a push into their destiny. Think of it like that. Don't think about doing something malicious or taking away from something. You might be pushing someone into their purpose. When I know people have opportunities or have talent outside of what they're doing for me, I try to push them towards that all the time. Because at the end of the day, I know you're going to be here. So let me fill this spot quick and let me push you towards your purpose. And then you could talk to me over lunch at some point and how well you do it. And if you need guidance, you can come back. Think about it like that. That takes away the anxiety. Hey,
I'll try it. I'll give it a try.
you can be like me, open up your own business. Have a whole pitch. And you know what? Practice your speeches.
Hey,
I
listen.
practice my firing speech all the time. Any speech I'm about to give to anybody, and it may be negative, I rehearse it in the mirror over and over.
Well, you know what Barbara says is she stopped explaining why she firing people.
Man,
And like
you have to tell people why you firing them.
here's why when she said it, why I understood exactly what she was saying. Because that person never feel like they deserve to be fired.
Oh,
They never feel like they deserve to be fired. So you said you can just start to get into a back and forth and it was this and this and that. But this is why she says she ain't having no long conversation or nothing. She just saying, hey, she say, you're not a good fit. We moving on.
no, boo.
No long, because I've been down that road. I've had those conversations. I've been there.
You fired. That's it. You don't back and forth. You can't come back from this. The minute my mind is made up.
Well, you're saying exactly what Barbara was. That's what I say. She said, because at first she was like, no, you got to tell people why. No, they
should know the mistake that they made so they don't make the same mistake.
Right.
But at the end of the day, this ain't no back and forth situation.
Listen, that's what it is end up turning into. Trust me.
You think they can, Barbara, you supposed to be a multi-millionaire. How you letting these little children run up there?
No. Let me say again. She's an experienced businesswoman who has been in business for many years, right?
Yeah.
She is saying what she has learned, because probably initially she would try and have the conversation and say, well, this is why.
Soft, too empathetic. And she look like there's a conversation.
But when you care about people, that's what tends to happen, right? And she said she's learned that you don't do that, because that person ain't gonna never feel like they're wrong, ain't gonna never feel like they're supposed to get fired, and they can always try and justify anything. And so all I was saying was, that's what she say, and I understood exactly what she was saying, because I've been there and had those conversations with staff, and it's a back and forth. They never feel like they should be fired, never feel like they do wrong, always try to justify their actions. And so I was just saying that I understood exactly what she was saying, because I see some people in the comments was like, oh, no, you can't do that. You got to do that. And I was like, y'all don't understand, because y'all never had to hire or fire anybody. So y'all don't understand where she's coming from when she's saying this.
And sometimes, and this is some people in the comments might say this is a coward's way out. But this is the one thing that's common sense, tried and true. You fire people on the weekend via email. Very clear and concise. I don't need you 2 weeks. I can pay you XYZ over this particular time. Your services are no longer required at our company. Don't come for your stuff because they might spy.
Boy, and that's another thing we ain't got to talk about. These damn labor laws. Oh, boy.
Don't worry, Greg, you will be back.
Oh, Lord.
We're going to take a break because we kind of piled up on a lot of episodes. So you might say, Jay, why are you talking about this? Jay, why are you talking about that? Jay going to Orlando to go live lit and go get my championship.
To do what?
Rings. I fantasy football.
You say you can't live what?
Lit.
People still say that?
You want to see I have on my Biden shirt?
Oh, Jesus
Stop
Christ.
judging me.
Lord.
It could be lit.
Sports ain't open tomorrow.
Yes. I'm not taking
You know what to do, right?
I'm not taking this back.
Take that straight back,
I'm
please.
not taking this back. You cannot make me.
All right. I trying to help you. I'd use my boy. But anyhow, if you want to go around looking like a ghost, then go ahead.
Boo. Anyway, this has been another episode of Full Gambit.
You can't even talk now. Look at that.
This has been another episode of the Full Gambit Podcast. Thank you, Greg Colley,
Anytime, brother.
for coming on the show.
The second. Got to say the second now.
Oh.
My pa got the same name.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg Colley, number 2.
Yes. No, the second.
Thank you, Greg Colley, the second.
Yeah, that's what in my passport. Not number 2.
You know what? Well, call me by, what's my name?
Lamont Johnson.
You know what? It's been the Full Gambit Podcast. Thank you, guys. 7,000 subscribers. You know what to do.
You set yourself up, big man.